of the Ranku Ramajuraka. Now in this video, I need to tie together a couple of things. One is the main focus of this video, my iMac, the Apple product iMac. The other is mental discipline training, personal evolvement methods, those which I post here on my channel and have been posting for quite a while, up until my house fire, in which the iMac, to which I refer, was seemingly destroyed, but which now works again. I'm going to tie these things together. And I'm doing so because, well, I think it might be instrumental for all of you. And because I promised Ayana, a fine lady who works in the customer relations department at the Apple corporate headquarters in California, the people who made the iMac. I called them and I spoke with Ayana in customer relations, and I told her about what happened with my iMac and the result now, and she was rather excited. And she spoke with her coworkers, and the feedback I got was that they were all pretty gleeful over hearing the news about one of their machines, and they had never heard of such a thing before. They had never heard of one of their products having pulled through such an event. Well, I told her that I would make a video. That would be this one, tying together the material that is the main thrust of my YouTube channel here: personal evolvement, mental discipline, and their iMac machine that I own. So, how am I going to tie these things together? All right, we have to reach a somewhat esoteric level of discourse here, which, if you are familiar with the content of my channel, should be no new thing. So, while to some it might sound like I'm really sticking my neck out here and getting a little weird, to you guys, it won't sound like that at all. I'll be just tying together some things, giving an example of how things work. So here we go. Tying these things together. Where do they tie together? How do we tie them together? Well, we have to talk a little bit about planes of manifestation. Should be no new topic to you who are familiar with the content of this channel. There's the material plane of manifestation, that with which we are in large familiar. Then there is the plane of forces, and there is the astral plane, the mental plane, the causal plane, and so forth. The mental, astral, plane of forces, and the material plane being members of a set of planes called the lower planes. They're all kind of tied together, and each one, they have correspondences, of course, and there is correspondence among them all. And the higher ones, those being of higher frequency bandwidth, like the mental plane, has precedence over the next one down in line, the astral plane, and so forth, down through into the material plane. So the mental plane, in a sense, establishes the blueprint for the astral, which is the blueprint then for the material. This is just a rough way of speaking. But if you're familiar with the material here in my channel, you'll know about that to which I refer here. All right. So, I had been using the iMac for the betterment of others, as I will put it, in accordance with universal will and my duty to it. I had been using the iMac to post material on personal evolvement here for the betterment of others. As I said, in accordance with my duty to universal will, doing what I know how to do. I've been using the iMac to do that. Then my house burned down. Out of that seemingly very destructive and negative circumstance, I actually ended up with a better place to live. I ended up with a stronger state of mind due to me practicing what I preach here. Got a better place to live. I ended up with a stronger state of mind. And my iMac works again. Now, how could that be? Well, folks, if you want to control your outer circumstances, you have to control your mind. It's the only way to go about it. And when we engage in practices that involve mental discipline and personal evolvement in accordance with universal will and out of a sense of duty to it, aiding humanity, and in my way of aiding humanity, I was helping humanity, or putting out there the information that would help other fellow human beings to do the same, to personally evolve, to gain control over their minds, to perhaps gain some control over their outer circumstances, and to aid others to personally evolve as well. I was using the iMac to do that. I didn't throw the iMac away. I held on to it, although it did not work as a result of the fire and all the damage it suffered, because of the water, the chemicals, the sweat, the high heat, and so forth. I held on to it. Somehow I had the feeling that it might work again someday. So after I pulled through, I did my part. I pulled through mentally, emotionally, physically, got a new house, came out better than I was before. These things set a pattern in the mental plane. Why then? Why then couldn't it, or wouldn't it, or shouldn't it be the case that the machine that was part of the whole event and that I was using to aid in to help others be better in life come back around to serve the same purpose once again, which is what it's doing right now. Once again. Because of the mental blueprint set up, the blueprint, the pattern established in the mental plane, trickling down into the material. That's my way of thinking. And that's my way of tying together these various things. As I promised Ayanna in customer relations at Apple headquarters in California that I would do. And I'm giving it all to you, my subscribers and viewers, as an example of how the universe works. There was no guarantee that I would get a new place to live, a better one than I had, but I did. There was no guarantee that anything positive would come out of something so seemingly destructive, but it did. There was no guarantee that the iMac would work once again, but it does. And I just happen to believe that there was a correspondence among those things. Because there was a correspondence among all things. And when it comes to our experience in life, we're always at the center of all the correspondences in our experience. Well, there it is. I've tied these things together. I'm Thiranki Ramacharaka, and by all means, be well.